See my ugly feet here, experimenting with a dual rig here in my guest bedroom. And I'm about to open a package I just got from Japan. These are always the fun ones, especially when they're this size, because you know they're the big ones. Let's see what this one is saying. This app is using full screen at home. Yeah, whatever. Okay, let me just adjust that. And I don't know what's going on here. The buttons will, okay, I got it. Okay, anyway, so yeah, going to be unboxing this guy. Going to wait for a few more people to come on before I start unboxing this baby, but we will take a look fairly soon to see what this is. So I am trying to figure out why the YouTube rig isn't going very well. Okay, all right, I got YouTube fixed. For some reason, it's really dark on the YouTube one. I don't know why. So I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, so let's see, unbox. Hey, Lauren. I'm trying to read 2 comments at a distance right now, which is very bad because I have really crappy eyes. But let's see what's in this package. And once again, this just came from Japan. I came home when I got home today from the shop. I saw it and was very excited because I have been waiting for this for a while. And let's see. And I'll try to read the comments, but very hard for me to see. And once again, this is a package I just got from Japan. And trying not to stab myself with the knife here. Okay. I actually don't know how they did this box. Okay, I figured it out. This is what a college degree gets you, folks. The ability to know how to find seams in a box. Hey, Flip, and hey, John Smicka in the house. And yeah, nice karambit. It's actually a pretty crappy karambit. But it is my karambit, and that's what counts. And so, here I am. I'm here trying to figure this out, and it does not take a genius. And yet I have made it. My college degree has not been very helpful in this regard. Okay, so I'm going to keep this on hand because you never know. This is nicely packed. Let us see here. Nothing like packaging for Kanteisho. So Kanteisho here. And let's see. This is Dotanuki. And for those of you who don't know, Dotanuki is Higo, Japan. This is like kind of the Kyushu area. They were very famous for making super buff, super tough swords that wouldn't break. So this is a Dotanuki, a real Dotanuki. Here is the tang. This guy is about 400 years old. Did you buy the sword from... I cannot read it from this distance. I'm sorry, John. I'll check it out later when I look. Beautiful paperwork. I mean, it's just paperwork. Okay. Nice packaging, I'll say that much. And all right, here we are. I'm going to do something about this, get out of the way. And I will probably need this guy. Everything about Japan, everything they do is nice. Like Japan is the master of packaging stuff. Like every time you go to a grocery store, they package everything really nicely. When you go to a department store, they package everything really nicely. And I'm sure here I was just totally flashing my head. And I think that's something night. I can't read it from this distance. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. So we've gotten past the bubble wrap, which is very nice bubble wrap, by the way. And once again, Japan does everything great with packaging. I'm going to toss that over there in the corner. I think I'm done with the karambit for now. And I'm done with the box for now. I'm going to go and... Like this box is so sturdy. I mean, Japan does everything right. Almost everything right. I can't say they did everything right. They do a lot of things wrong, too. All right, so here we are. We're going to get a little closer. And trying to catch comments. Joe. Hello, JT. And once again, I can see the comments a little better. Let's see. And Celtic Knight. Okay, so now I can read you. And how come I cannot unwrap this guy? The first thing you should notice about this, I don't know if you guys can tell about this Dotanuki. Ooh. There is the sword bag. I'll toss that right there for now. That's the envelope to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up and I am going to actually set this down And then I'm going to adjust this because now that I'm done taking it out of the box, I can adjust this. And this is my new rig. And so I'm going to try to raise this up a little. Sorry, my head very close. You probably didn't want to see my forehead, but yet here we are. Okay, so I am going to move this over here and then we can take a cool look at that. I'm trying to angle this. Once again, this is a totally brand new setup for me and I'm trying to figure out where to move the guest room furniture. Okay, anyway, so this is a sword that I just got from Japan, and I don't know if you guys can tell what's different about it. Candy Mac John, I hope you're well today. Thank you. When you get a chance, can you show your personal 15K katana? Yes, I can do that. JT, it's not a katana. But a tachi. Paul, let's see. Greetings from Chicagoland. Hello from the Philippines. Wow, we've got people from all over. So I have both YouTube and TikTok going on here, so that's why I'm kind of looking all around here. And I'm just like holding this out, waiting for you guys to die of suspense. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, wow. Number one, this is very long. Number two, it is very straight. So this is a chokoto, a straight sword. And it was once again made by the Totonuki family in Higo, Japan. I'm going to hold it up here for the YouTube people to see. You can see it has that gorgeous polish, that gorgeous hamon. Going to hold it up here for the TikTok people to see. But anyway, yeah. Hello, Floyd from Maryland. Hello, Floyd from Maryland. Yeah. So anyway, this one is about 400 plus years. And once again, it's long and very thick, wide, I should say. It looks like it's about 1.5 inches wide. And it is once again a straight sword. It has gorgeous skin. You really can't see. I'm going to hold it up here, but you really can't see in this lighting. I think I need, for this new setup, I need to get one of those halo lights so we can get some more light when I do these lives. So anyway, to give you a context for just how big this is, it looks like they rubber banded it together, probably because it might be falling apart. But this is like a modern day production sword. And so this is the sort of thing that you would get. It's just like we sell it for 150. But this is where the hilt begins. And then you can see here that the chokoto is longer by about 3 inches. It is 81 centimeter nagasa, if I remember correctly. 81 nagasa puts it at what? 32 inches? 31 to 32 inches? Mirror polish is amazing, Shishjo. Yes. New favorite? No, Kenshin, this is not my new favorite. But I definitely wanted something. I like things that are different. Insanity Pepper says konnichiwa. And so I like things that are different. And so this is a chokoto. And once again, I had never seen a Nihonto chokoto, so this is pretty cool. Beautiful. I've been thinking of getting a katana like that. Hopefully the one like the Saka. Is it a ninjato? What is this game called? Saka from Avatar. So no, so we do have a sword that's similar to Saka from Avatar, but not this one here. This one is, once again, a 400-year-old antique from Japan. And it is, check out the size. The kisaki on this is enormous. So this is my finger. The kisaki is 2 inches long. And it is just buff all the way through. And I can't wait to really just study this because right now I can't really see a whole lot. And once again, for those of you who are just joining, this is a 400 and some year old straight Japanese sword. The whole idea of a ninja sword being straight is kind of a misnomer. Once again, if you think ninjas were spies who had to blend in, and so if they always carried straight swords, this is the way Scott says it, if they always carried straight swords, then you would always know who a ninja was, and then they wouldn't make very good spies. So that's sort of like the bottom line there. The whole idea of a ninja having a straight sword is sort of just a Hollywood, not a Hollywood, actually in Japanese cinema is the same way. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. I was trying to avoid this. I'm gonna put this here. And I can't remember if this is signed or not. This is kind of, it's always scary. Not always, but. See, it came out. See, it's coming out nicely. Okay, there we go. Okay, so This is the Tang. I'm going to hold it up here for TikTok to see, or for YouTube to see. And now for TikTok, there is no signature, but it has been certified by the MBTHK as being a Dotonuki. Has two what do you call them, Mikugi pegs. Probably means it has had other settings at things at one time or another. I'm going to return this to its saya. No, before I return. Actually, no, I'm not going to do it that way. Yes, I am going to do it that way. So trying not to touch the blade because our oils cause damage. And then putting it back in its, there we go. And what did I do with the peg? The peg is here. And trying to see which side is bigger. That is bigger. Putting the cookie peg back in. All right, so once again, a 400-year-old Chokuto from Japan. Ninja sword comes from Kabuki, as does the uniform, says John Smicka. Yes. For those of you who don't know, the idea that ninja wear, oh, I'm wearing a sombrero now, but at least in TikTok. But the whole idea of the mask and everything, those come from Kabuki stagehands who would move props and stuff and be black to blend in with the background. So yeah, once again, for those of you who are just joining in, this I just unboxed this guy. He just arrived from Japan today. It looks like the Shirasaya. I don't know what's going on with the Shirasaya. It's interesting enough. But once again, I'll show you here. This is a Dotonuki. Dotonuki, once again, is a very famous school in Japan that was famous for making very buff, very tough swords. Background cast in Kabuki, yes. And it is really, check out the polish on that. The spine is mirrored. The middle is actually still a little bit mirrored, but really the tamahagane, the folds of the steel really come out if you look carefully. This actually, I got this knowing that there were certain flaws in the blade, but now that I look at it, it doesn't look that bad at all. Like some of the things I saw in the pictures, they don't quite come out with the naked eye, but I have not, once again, studied it very carefully. Once again, look at this giant kisaki. It's like a 2 inches. That's like where the yokote is right there. That is a massive stabbing tip. And it is an enormous blade. Once again, 81 centimeters. How much is it? Not for sale at this current moment. Zatoichi sword. Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting this fit as a shikomizue, which is a stick sword or a staff sword. I was considering it, but at the moment I haven't quite decided what I want to do, except for just admire it as is. So, hey John, I was watching you and Scott earlier. Didn't expect another live stream. Busy day. Yeah, so Bird, I just found, when I got back home, I found this on my foyer. So this just arrived from Japan. It is a 400-year-old Chokuto, straight sword from Japan. Let's see. My favorite Asian sword is the Dao. I am a big fan of Dao as well. And let me show you a really cool, I'll show you one of my favorite Dao. Is this one here. This is my new favorite Dao. This is not an antique. This was made probably only about a year ago, but this is called Horsetooth Construction. Stay good. Yep, thank you, Candy Watch. Peace and love. This is one of my favorite new swords. You can see it has that ripple pattern, but this is called Horsetooth Construction. So I really like this sword quite a bit. Let's see. Oh, JT wants to see my $15,000 sword. So it's this one here. Ooh, put that back on the rack carefully. This one is 82.5 centimeters. This is anywhere from 650 to 800 years old. Has a very deep koshizori to it. You can see it has that deep curve to it. I'm putting it on my center and you can see how far it curves off to the side. I actually like curved swords more than straight swords. I just didn't have a straight sword, which is why I got that one. And you can't really enjoy, actually you can get a decent look at it there with the lighting and everything, but it is a really pretty sword. Spatha, I don't have one. This has a very deep curve and it is very long. Least expensive, but favorite that you have behind me. Least expensive. The one that cost me the least, but actually is probably quite expensive, is this one. And eventually I'm gonna get this one rewrapped and redone. But this is actually probably my second favorite sword, beside the expensive one over there. This one is what's called a slender tachi, and it has a very thin look to it. You can see it's not very, very wide at all. I want to hold my finger up behind it, and you can see it's like about one of my digits wide. When you get to the kisaki here, it's only about less than the size of one of my digits there. So this is the sort of, hey, Joshua Dyer, this is the sort of thing which would have been used from horseback. It's called a slender tachi. It has what's called a marumune. This is a potentially 1,000-year-old sword, and I'm going to get this submitted to NTHK to get them to take a look at it and see and try to get a value or an age to it. I kind of just want to know who made it, and it's signed, but it's likely a fake signature. Oh yeah, I like the habaki. It's kind of an ugly habaki, and this one. Josh, this one's not for sale. It's kind of my one of my favorite. Dumb questions, but can a katana cut through a car door? So through the car door, if you go to Shad Diversity on YouTube, he uses one of our S5 steel swords to basically stab into a car door, and it's putting holes in the car door. So can it be done? Yeah. Why would they use it on horseback if it's so thin? Well, you have to assume that they're using it one-handed, and you don't want a really heavy weapon. So yeah, this is a tachi. What is my biggest sword? I have one that stands tip to pommel 6 feet. I don't have it here, but it's at the shop, and we have one that's about 5.5 feet. It is a nodachi. Tengu, any railway steel swords? I don't have one here, but I have one at the shop. But I do not have one here at home. But we do have one at the shop. I'm going to change this over a little more, change the angle, or try to. Actually, I just realized I can. Anyway, I'm exploring this new rig here to see if I can get more, show more, and do two live streams at once. I'm basically live streaming on both TikTok and YouTube. Try it with a Cybertruck. Let's see. John, let me see that new Nihonto again. Yeah, I can do that, Mara. Will you ever get a version of 2B sword? Probably not. I don't know anybody who makes it. It's a very big, she has a very big sword. So Mara, this is the Chokuto. Mara, I was talking, this is the one I was talking to you. I wanted to have made into a staff, but you said needed a locking device, and I was like, that's too complicated. So I decided I'm just gonna keep it in Shirasaya. But this is it here. I'm gonna hold it in such a way that other people can see it. Serpenta, yeah, live again. So, yeah, I'm live again because for those of you who are just joining in, I came home and found this antique from Japan here. This is a 400-year-old sword made by the Totonuki school, but what's cool about it is it's very long, and it's also a chokuto, a straight sword. Let's see, more questions to answer. Let's see. I am 62. I have my grandfather's sword is almost as tall as me. Wow, that's pretty amazing, Mike. Your favorite chokuto? This is the only chokuto I own, so yes, I guess it's my favorite. And my least favorite. How many do you have at home? I think I've counted 46 here. We do have black Shikomizue. It's the Zatoichi sword. If you go to our website, rvakatana.com, you will see it there. How would you properly store the swords? Humidity, asking for people in the tropics. I think the main thing is you want to try to keep it as your environment as dry as possible. The other thing is, I'm in the United States, so I have temperature climate control here in my room. But I think if you live in the tropics, you just want to oil your sword more frequently. That would be my guess. Let's see. 1200 AD, Japan was very small people, so those swords were probably giant for them. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely a very true thing. Let's see. Do you open mail with them? No, they're a little bit big. Where is our shop info? rvakatana.com. You should see it in my link tree. And is the Master Sword from Zelda reasonable to use? I'm not sure. I've never seen one. How much for that Shirasai? It's not for sale. I just got it. Still loving it. John, is CPM 3V tougher than S5? No. CPM 3V is very good because it has a very hard edge, and it's a powder steel, and so it holds its edge really, really well. but it's also durable. However, CPM 3V is not even as tough as like 9260 spring steel. If you take 9260 and smash it flat to flat against CPM 3V over and over again, the 9260 will eventually win out. But if you took the edge and cut edge into edge, the CPM 3V will just put nicks into the 9260 like all day long. So it really depends. It really depends. That's the answer. CPM 3V is very hard and holds an edge really well, but it is not as tough laterally. Dehumidifier helps, says John, living in the tropics. What is the purpose of the Shirasaya? The Shirasaya is there to protect the blade, to keep it from getting extra moisture. It pulls moisture off of the blade. It's a really good fit. So it's basically there to preserve the blade. I want one in black. We do. If you go to our website, rvakatana.com, and look up the Zatoichi, then we have one of those. I'm 6'2" and Grandpa's sword came from the ground. Wow, that's a big sword. 400 years. I mean, of my antique swords, this is the third youngest. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 swords here that are older, that are 500 years older or older here. Where do you get our antique swords? Mostly from Japan. I was trying to say I'm 6'2". Do you have Shinobu? I have Shinobu, but not here. I have it over at the shop. Can you talk about the Dragon King Warfire again? Dragon King Warfire, I believe, is 1566 steel. It cuts like a dream. There's something about that geometry, and when we cut with it, it just goes through things. It's just a really nice cutting geometry. It's a little on the longer side. I believe it's 28-inch long Nagasa. I just love the Warfire. My best cutting ever done was with my sensei's Warfire. How come the Shirasaya doesn't have a tsuba? Well, once again, the Shirasaya is there to protect the blade, and so it's not meant for fighting with. In fact, the way they're constructed, they don't have the ray skin, they don't have wrapping, and so this kind of handle, because of the soft wood, if I were to try to hit something with it, there's a good chance that it could split. And it can still split with a regular handle as well, but it's just more likely in a Shirasaya. So these are not functional fittings. I mean, if you had to use them, you might get 1 or 2 shots off before the whole thing split up. But once again, this is here to protect the sword. It's not a functional battle mount, so to speak. Any pew-pews? No antiques? No. What's the website? rvakatana.com. I have one katana as well. I also have one from World War II that goes on the end of a gun, a bayonet. Awesome. What kind of oil? I prefer using choji oil, but in the shop we use Hanwei sword oil. Let's see. Do you have Spatha? I do not. I have the Master Sword. Do you have the power? Can we see the top one on the wall mount? That's one of my favorites. This is a Ming Dynasty style Dao, a Ming Dao. One of the cool things you'll see in Ming and sometimes Qing sword is this braided wrap. This is a Cloudhammer functional Damascus sword. And so you can see it has like a lot of whorls and everything. And check out the tip of this guy. It has this really cool tip. And that fuller, notice how the fuller is a double fuller. There's a triangle termination. I'm trying to hold it here so both cameras can pick it up. And check out that looping motion there. It looks like my YouTube phone is really catching details better. What kind of sword does O-Ren have in Kill Bill? I don't know. Probably a katana. I've never watched Kill Bill. Zero interest. What is the ray skin made of? How can you tell the difference between real and fake? Ray skin is made of ray, so manta ray. And so a real one, I'm going to show you here. I don't know if you can see it very well. Maybe do I have a ray skin? Yeah, let me show you so you can see it very up close and personal. This is the Phoenix Tachi. And you can see here that it's very uneven, what do you call it, nodules. If you run your finger across it, it's very hard. And so that's pretty typical for real ray skin. As for imitation ray skin, I don't like using the word fake because it's not like you're trying to trick anybody. But this is a fake one, and you can see here that it's when you dig your finger into it, it's kind of rubbery. It feels like not a basketball maybe, but it has a very different sort of consistency to it. So that's one way to tell a imitation ray skin compared to genuine ray skin. Do you have Shinobu? I have Shinobu at the shop. I don't have it here. Shirasaya curved. Recommendations for the best sword for your money. Depends on how much money you want to spend. And we have them at a lot of different rates. Joe says, I listened to you and Scott earlier that D2 is not good for swords. Why? D2 is very brittle. We're just talking about CPM 3V. So D2 is a knife steel. It can hold an edge. It has amazing edge retention. But the problem is that once you get longer, then the forces that are acting on a sword, because you're hitting with impact as opposed to slicing, then those impacts can break D2 very easily. So D2 is very hard, but also brittle compared to other steels. Hey, Steve. Steve, I don't know if you saw the Chokuto. Is there any swords with prayer beads? I've seen some. No, I don't have a Spatha sword. Sorry. I meant, is there a website you look for antique swords? Let's see. What's your favorite one from my collection? I just showed it was the long Tachi there. Let's see. Going over to this one here. I wish I knew you were going to hook up with Skyjiro. I've been waiting 8 months as it is my Takachigai model up, says Samurai. I actually haven't officially done anything with Skyjiro Bird. I basically just talked to them. I exchanged an email, but then he wanted me to follow up with something, and I think it was just too much effort. So I actually haven't really pushed that very much. Dragon King Lotus has prayer beads on the tuba. No, those are, John, those are lotus seeds. The lotus is supposed to be lotus seeds. All right. I was just about to ask about the oil, choji oil. Can you use walnut oil on a sword? I have no idea. Or on gun stocks. I don't know. Lich, hey. Yes, Steve. So here's the Chokuto. Sorry, I missed it. I just unboxed. Ooh, always dangerous. That was the thing about what do you call it? The Chokuto was that I was reaching for the handle here because it was straight, but it's actually up here. So, ooh, that was scary. All right, so now I'm going to bow to it with proper respect. Because before it stabs me. And here you go. This is the Chokuto. It is a Dotonuki school Chokuto. It's a giant kisaki of about 2 inches. It is amazing. It is very wide as well. It's much wider than I thought it would be. And it's in much better shape. I mean, this is really a beautiful sword. I'm just really impressed by the condition of this guy. Very, very happy with this one. So you know what they say about the handle being on the left? It was on the left, but I sort of deceived myself because when I grabbed it, I was thinking Chinese sword because, I don't have any straight Japanese swords. Let's see. Trying to catch up with comments here. WD-40 on my rifle stock. I don't know. WD-40 can evaporate quickly. My favorite is that guy, that Shirasaya right there in the middle. How the heck did they catch Ray? Harpoon? I don't know, actually. Are tsuba on wakizashi supposed to be smaller or the same size as katana? Usually they are smaller, traditionally. Nowadays, they tend to use the same size. How do I get one? Go to rvakatana.com. Let's see. My most expensive is a $15,000 sword. I'm glad to know even an experienced swordsman like John drops a sword every now and then. That was scary as AF, because that's a very big sword. Anyway, I want to get me an authentic Japanese sword. What would be the proposition for my proposition for a first one? That really depends. Think about what your budget is. Think about what you're looking for in a sword. Me personally, I like old swords, ones that are at least 400 years old. We say are koto swords. Let's see. Cook, yeah, I just unboxed. Okay, trying to come over here. Samurai Bird. Tachinaga also has some Skyjiro Shinke in stock. Let's see. Tengu loves his Skyjiro. Bad Wolf. David Goldberg is pretty nice. I actually called him. Cool. John, that Tegai I bought from you gets pretty slender towards the Kisaki. Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why they think it was like on the older side. And that is one of the things you'll see kind of mid-Muramachi is that you get a very, very strong distal taper. And I'm going to show you. Actually, I don't have a good example of it. Here's an early Muramachi sword. So this is about 650 years old. But check out the width over here. I'm going to try to hold it over this way. The width over here, and then see how skinny it gets towards the end. And that is one of the things you'll see with Muramachi swords. And I was like freaking out because I thought I saw some rust there, but it's not rust, just some oil. Is 1060 steel good? 1060 steel isn't bad. We do have some with red ray skin, JT. I got scared when you dropped that on your foot, man. Yeah, I got scared too. Luckily, it would have hit me with the end of the Shirasaya, but I have a busted toe anyway, so that was kind of. I'm still kind of scared about that. Yeah. Let's see. My mistake when my katana showed up with loose fittings, he repaired it. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, let's see. Yeah, this is a 600-year-old sword right here, early Murabachi. It actually goes inside these fittings. So this sword, this tachi fitting is absolutely enormous. I got to really figure out how to do two phones at one time. By the way, I'm not doing a very good job here. This sword goes in these fittings. And put that down. And I'm going to return this. And okay. Do you have a sword in your inventory that's taken a life? Not that I know of, and I hope not. That would have some bad juju. I don't know why people have an obsession with things that have been used to kill people or been in battle. In battle, I can understand, but I don't know what people's obsession is with a sword that's killed someone. This is probably my oldest here. It's at least 700 years old and possibly about 1,000 years old. So this is my oldest. It needs to be rewrapped. This is the saran maki saran wrap just to keep it protected. You need phones so you can add Facebook. That's live feeds. That's actually a really good idea, John. I should probably start doing that on all of them as well. I actually got another phone, so I might as well get a third phone and do live feeds, right? That's my thing. I like old swords. Oh. What am I trying to follow? Anyway, how is everyone doing tonight? What's the most famous sword you own and why? None of my swords are famous. If I owned a famous sword, it would be, you're talking about, $20,000 to $20,000 at least. And I don't own any famous swords. How do you get them? I've acquired some from Racinger Sword of Japan. I get some from Japanese dealers. That's pretty much how I get my swords. Does the Warfire cut well as the Moritaka? So Tengu, just from my personal experience cutting with the Warfire, I was able to cut like an unsecured beach mat 7 times without it falling over with both Kesa and Hidari Kesa. And so it's my favorite. But that Moritaka that L6, the old katana was just massive. I mean, it cut so nicely. So it's really hard to say. Let's see. Joe says, I used your trick on the saya, shimmed it with paper, worked amazingly. Yes, Joe, that is a very easy fix for a loose saya. I actually had this instance. I got to share this because it really pisses me off. But there's this one customer who was super picky. He wanted a custom Cloudhammer. Cloudhammer was taking forever, and that's on Cloudhammer. But they were basically taking forever to get the sword. And I finally got it. And then this guy, he was like, he doesn't want anything loose. And so the saya had a rattle. So I went and swapped it with another saya. And it took me a while to find one that had a really good fit. And so I chose one that had a really good fit to the point, you hold it upside down, it won't fall out. And then I ship it to him. It's going to California. It takes 5 days to reach him. And by the time he gets it, it's loose. And he sends me this email saying how I was careless and sent him a danger sword in all caps. And I was like, no, Scott was there when I packed that sword, and he saw that it didn't fall out. But I was so insulted by this guy. He wants to send the sword back. I was like, you know what, just send it back. And then anyway, dealing with this guy, there's more to the story. And now he's like doubling down on it. I just want to, it really irritates me. So do you own only Japanese swords? No, I have a bunch of Chinese swords over there, plus some Chinese-made Japanese swords over here. And here over on this side are my tachi. These are all Chinese-made. Sorry, there's a mess over there. Chinese-made tachi. This is not super stable. I'm trying to hold this up at a good angle. And there's bubble wrap here from the Chocodoll. That's keeping my new tripod. I'm just experimenting with my new tripod to try to get things straight here. Not doing a very good job. Okay. This is a Chinese-made wakizashi and osaraku. I love showing this one off because it's so freaking sharp. And I love doing this with this particular sword, but This has got such a mean geometry. It literally means scary. Osraku, osroshi. Let's see. Do you like Pawn Stars sword episodes? I don't watch Pawn Stars. Any made of tamahagane. JT, all the Japanese swords are made of tamahagane. The ones from Japan are made of tamahagane. I am going to be getting some Cloudhammer tamahagane swords soon, 3 of them. Let's see. Any authentic swords over 100 years old still available? If so, is there a ballpark? Yeah, Mark, for Japanese swords, there are tons of them. I mean, there are literally about 5 million Japanese swords that are over 100 years old. And so I have, in here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11, no, 12. Wait, 13, 14, 15. So I have like, right now I have 16 swords in here that are at least 150 years old. And the thing is that they're not super uncommon. If Steve Sheridan is here, I think he's up to like 40 some in his guest bedroom. So let's see. Is T10 better than Damascus? Generally speaking, yes. Damascus, because of the pattern welding, there are chances of having forging flaws. So T10 is generally better, generally. You need a tripod that works, yes. If you shake data and it has a slight rattle, is there a way to stop it if you shake data? I'm not sure what you're saying. Can you tell if a blade is Chinese made or Japanese made by looking at it? Yes, yes, you can. There's a very different look. There's some Chinese swords, like Chinese tamahagane, they can do it really well. There's some people who can fake it really well, but for the most part, no. And the thing is that if you see someone who's trying to sell a fake Chinese sword that's made of Oroshigane, that is tartar steel, you might not be able to tell that it's fake, but it's probably worth about what they sell it for. Unless like a Chinese tartar steel sword is worth about $1,000, anywhere from $1,000 to about $2,000. So let's see. Have you ever cut with your Motohara Wakazashi? No, that is actually something I plan on doing. John, do you and Scott speak Chinese, Mandarin, or Cantonese? I speak Mandarin, Bird. That's how I talk to all my people in China, is in Mandarin, though usually I'm typing it. Blade rattle, you need add a shim, thin piece of cardboard between Scott and Seppa. Yeah, that's that's an easy way to do it. The other way that that Tengu taught me was to take dental floss and wrap it, and that works really well too. There are a lot of little cheats that you can do to fix swords that are having issues like with looseness and stuff. Because that's something, if you use your sword, especially if you cut with them, if you abuse them, they are going to get loose. That's just the nature of swords. I'm getting a gold katana. I feel guilty buying a cheap katana, but that's all I can get for now. If you got our gold plum, it's a good sword. It's not an amazing sword, but it's a good sword. It's sitting $70. You can have some fun with it. What I recommend is that it does not have super tight wrap. And so if you get, do I have one here? I do have one here. If you do get one of our gold plum katana, then I do recommend lacquering down the handle. So that's basically using clear lacquering it down so it doesn't budge. That is the only thing I would say. Other than that, it holds up pretty well. I've cut mats and I've cut bamboo with it. I would say if you're a beginning cutter, don't try bamboo. Start with beech mats or pool noodles. Pool noodles can be frustrating though. So actually pool noodles I think are actually a pretty difficult target. And I think that people make fun of, some practitioners will make fun of those who cut pool noodles, but pool noodles are difficult. At least I've had trouble with them, because sometimes if it's like your sword isn't razor sharp and you don't have good edge alignment, you're likely to like knock it over more than you are to slice through it. So yeah, anyone who can cut through a pool noodle, it's nothing to make fun of. Nothing to make fun of. You forgot about dental floss, says John. John, you taught me about that, and I've done it a few times. It's kind of cool. But yeah, you can, anytime you want to, if you have your habaki is loose, you have rattle in your tsuba, you can like take aluminum foil, paper, all these different ways and make your own like sort of fake seppa, your own MacGyvered seppa. Some pool noodles are very flimsy, more than others. Those must be the ones I'm getting, because yeah. Let's see. Wow, I thought you were Japanese. そのことないけど。まあ、妻日本人やけど。Sorry if the blade is in position in Saya and you shake it, it has slight rattle. How do you fix that? So Joe, when that happens, what you can do is you can take a thin slice of pool noodle and put it down inside, and that'll help to deal with the rattle. Do you have any hilts that are made out of bamboo? Not here. I have some people cut flour bags. Pool noodles are hard. You need to be good alignment. Yes. Do you ever sharpen your own blades? I do not. I do not. Well, I take that back. I do. I will do like for my cutting swords. I'll do a quick and eat dirty with a ceramic sharpener. All you do is just like rub it across the blade. It's not a official way to sharpen, but it works. Um, so that technically Japanese swords should be polished to sharpness traditionally, but yeah, you can do quick sharpening. I'll call you sword shifu. Shifu is the actual term. But anyway, is there any way you can get into a rewrapped if needed? An Ito rewrap? Yeah. Um, Go to rewrapped. What is it? Rewrap.com. There's a friend of mine, Rob, and he rewraps our swords. He does a pretty good job, and it's not too expensive. However, oftentimes rewrapping a sword is more expensive than some swords in general because of the labor that goes into them. Rewrap Studios. Yes, Tengu put it right. Rewrap Studios. He can do that. How is that scary wakizashi so sharp? Can I get a katana or wakizashi that sharp? You can, but once again, once you get to that sharp of a blade, then you risk edge damage on hard targets. So that's just the nature of that's just physics. Do you have anything in Tsuba? I had you order. You have anything in with that Tsuba? No, only Lich has that Tsuba. What is a good cheap sword for display only? It depends on what you're looking for. Samurai Bird. Hey, I didn't know Bird rewrapped. How much do you charge for that, Bird, for rewrapping? Because I'll send people to you too. And I know Bird will sharpen the crap out of swords. I mean, I've seen some of Bird's swords. I got a sword back from Bird, an Unakubi that he hated, but that thing had a super razor edge on it. That thing was amazing, and actually Joe Lane ended up with that sword. But yeah, so Samurai Bird over at you'll see him on YouTube. He wraps. I did not know he wraps swords, but he wraps hilts rather than ska, and he can sharpen the heck out of your sword for you. Absolutely amazing. I have many different daggers and sword, but I think each sort of dagger needs its respect. Indeed. See you next live. Thank you. Do you have any other of those scales that measures sharpness of a blade? I've never heard of those. Where should someone shop for antique swords that is reliable? That is hard to say. Yeah. T10 versus L6. L6 is very hard. The edge can be a little brittle, so you do have to worry about cutting hard targets like bamboo if you have L6. If you're a really good cutter, it's probably not going to be a problem, but you do risk chipping an edge on L6. Now, there is L6 that's treated to lower bainite, and I only trust Howard Clark to do that, and those are pretty reliable. There's one on sale for $6,500, and I'm really tempted. But that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money, because I was also eyeing this a very long koto sword as well for about the same amount. I would love to get resharpened. My sharpest blade, I have no idea. How much does 150-year-old sword cost? You can find some for about $2,000, sometimes even less. L6 is not better than T10. And heat, it does come down to heat treatment. T10, I find the blade is very multi-purpose. T10, you can cut bamboo, you can cut mats. L6, I wouldn't risk an L6 edge on bamboo personally. Let's see. Got my katana today. Awesome. Hope you like it. Let's see. Paul Martin, if you want out of Japan. How to tell if a sword is a good sword or not? There's a lot that goes into that. I mean, that's a whole lot, and I'm still learning. Like the other day, John Tengu 190 was down visiting us, and he was telling us what to look for in a bad bohie. He's like, the bohie's there, and he's like, oh, just run your finger through the ridge, and they're like, oh, now I see what you mean. So they're always learning new things about how to tell like quality in a sword, and there's definitely differences between antique swords and new swords in terms of what you're looking for. John, invest in an edge on upscale. Might be cool for the shop. Okay, I will look into that, JT. Thanks. Is T10 better than spring temper? That depends on what you want to do. If you're a beginning cutter, I would recommend a spring steel over T10 if you're a beginning cutter, because T10 usually has to be clay tempered to be efficient, and T10 that does risk bends and chips. Let's see. I love using L6 on bamboo rather than T10. I can cut bigger stuff with L6, says Bird. Okay, cool deal. Do wooden swords still cut things? You could cut some things. There were some Koreans. They had this video. They were cutting newspaper with wooden swords, like dull wooden swords. They were getting these really clean cuts. Do you do any kanji or Japanese style drawings? JT, I do not, but Scott's wife is a world-class calligrapher. I can't go through TSA. Yes, if you fly to Japan to get a sword, you cannot fly through TSA. And in fact, you cannot leave Japan with a sword without a permit. So you have to apply for a permit. Generally speaking, if you went to Japan and bought a sword, you'd have the dealer get all the permitting done to have it shipped to you. Usually you can't take it out yourself. Okay, it is almost 10:30 and I need to get some cycling in to work off this midsection. I had a prime rib for dinner, and so I definitely need to run, but thank you all. And I'm gonna go admire my brand new Chokoto. So, favorite Demon Slayer katana is Rengoku's. Let's see. So anyway, yeah, we'll be live probably around 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Join our Discord, discord.gg/RVA Katana. Scott will be doing his free class at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Discord. And so yeah, come and join us. We're very happy to talk about swords, show off swords, and we're going to do it from the shop tomorrow. Here I only have about 45 swords versus the shop we have 500 plus. So I will talk to you guys later. See you guys later. Good Japanese restaurant, not ramen or sushi in Japan. There are none anymore. Yeah, oyasumi. See you guys later.